I was raised in Salt Lake City, Utah, in the western part of the United States. And my dad worked in a department store. My mother was a full-time mother, and then when my father died at an early age, she became a high school teacher. I'm the second of 8 kids. I'm 6'8", so I played as much basketball as I could. And from the very beginning, I wanted to be the editor of the Wall Street Journal. But they would never give me job opportunities, and so I tried one thing and then another, and I ended up here at the Harvard Business School. But I feel very lucky in my life. I have been married to Christine, who's been a wonderful mother to our children and wife for 36 years. And we have 5 kids, aged ranging from 35 to 21. I guess I have to say that the reason why I came into academia early on was we had no money. We had to support a growing family. So again, I wanted to be the editor of the Wall Street Journal. I was here at the Harvard Business School. The Boston Consulting Group made me an offer that if I would accept an offer from them at the beginning of my second year, they would pay the whole thing for me. And we were so broke. I had worked half-time in the first year of my program here, and so we struggled really hard for about 30 seconds and decided we'll go with the Boston Consulting Group. And I thought we'd just stay there for 2 years, and then I'd go after the Wall Street Journal. But man, I just loved the work, you know, and so I stayed there for about 5 years. I took 1 year off in the middle of that to go to Washington when Ronald Reagan was our president as a White House fellow. And then I started to, got a feeling that I really need to go to the Wall Street Journal. And a professor from MIT just knocked on my door one day and described this new technology that they had developed. There were 3 of them that were the technical brains, but they needed a business guy and wondered if I would do that. And it was just so great, too great an opportunity to walk away. And so I left the Boston Consulting Group. We raised in the early 1980s about $60 million. It was because materials is a high fixed cost business. And it has ups and downs. New materials are, the time to production and profitability is quite long. But we made it. And with this class of products, we were the only advanced materials company that became viable. And I enjoyed that. In a startup, you get 5 years of experience for every year on the job, And so I'm really glad that I did that. And then, I wanted to do the Wall Street Journal as it became clear that I wasn't going to get there. The other potential profession that I thought about a lot was maybe I ought to be a teacher. And so as the company was hitting its stride, I came to the Harvard Business School, talked to the dean, asked him if they would take somebody like me onto the faculty. And I was about 38 years old, and he said, if you want to really make teaching as a profession, you need to have a PhD. And you need to go through the tenure process. And so with the support of a great wife, I decided I'll do it. So at age 38, with 5 kids, I became a doctoral student all over again. And boy, it was hard, but I was able to finish the degree, and Harvard was kind enough to let me stay here and take a position on their faculty. So I've been here now 21 years. It's been wonderful. I think that probably the reason why we've created 4 enterprises, and I imagine that we'll do a couple more, is I honestly think at its core, I really like to help people, and I honestly think that becoming wealthy has never been even a minor motivation between what we're doing. I just never have seen that money makes people happy. But helping others really does help me be happy, And so the professors from MIT, when they knocked on my door, I think my motivation was, geez, I could help these guys commercialize new materials that they had developed, and it would help them feel the satisfaction that comes from doing that. And then when I came here and published some of my research, companies would read my work, call me up, ask for my help, and I couldn't help them. I've got commitments to Harvard, and so we set up Innosight so that we could help those people. And I'm not a shareholder of the company, but it does help me, through them, help other people. And the team at Innosight, which now is about 100 people, there are a lot of people there who are finding real exciting growth possibilities and professional achievement. So I feel good about that. And the Innosight Institute and Rose Park Advisors are just the same, giving people opportunities to excel in ways that otherwise they might not have if they'd not been guided by my research. Well, I've had a lot of interesting experiences here, and I'm proud of them. I got tenure here faster than anybody in the modern history of the Harvard Business School. And The Economist said that the first book I wrote, The Innovator's Dilemma, was one of the 6 best business books ever written. I'm proud about that, And then when Thinkers 50 gave me this honor as being judged as the most influential person in business, that also was, whoever imagined that I would get honors like that. But I think the big deal was somebody asked me, how does it feel to get these honors? And I said, it's actually really disappointing, because all my life I've been at the bottom of the mountain, and I look at the people at the top and say, oh, they are so smart. And now, if I'm at the top, I look around saying, man, if I'm at the top, the rest of the world is really hurting. And I think that's my most important professional. I think that's the achievement in my profession that I'm most proud of, is this realization that if they look at me that way, the world is really in trouble. The theory of disruptive innovation emerged from my research around a question which I brought with me as I left the company, CPS, to become an academic. And the puzzle was, if you look across the sweep of business history, most companies, which at one point were widely regarded as unassailably successful, a decade or two later you find them in the middle of the pack and often at the bottom of the heap. And what causes that to happen was our puzzle. And what we learned is that it was rare that a successful company is thrown out of their leadership position by some other company bringing in a better product than the leaders, which they could sell for more higher profits to their best customer. It's rare that the leaders are displaced by people who have even better products. But instead, what catches them is somebody comes in at the bottom of the market and they bring in simple products that actually aren't as good as what the leaders make. But they are so attractively priced that a much larger population of customers can actually now own the products. And even though these products aren't as good as the leaders' products, they are infinitely better than nothing. And therefore, a new market emerges at the low end. And then the companies grow up from that point of view. And so if just disruptions that have occurred historically, the personal computer was a disruptive innovation relative to the big mini computers. The router that allows you to communicate over the internet using packet switching technology that was brought to the world by Cisco wasn't nearly as good as circuit switching technology comes from companies like, at the time, Ericsson and Alcatel, and in America, Lucent and Nortel. And the router was a disruptive technology because it was slow. It packeted up data in virtual envelopes, and then they send them out over the internet. And if they want to send this from Boston to London, one might go to Miami first, and then to Bermuda, and then to Paris, and then to London. And the next one might go to Iceland, and then to Stockholm, and then to London. And it takes about 4 seconds for all of this data, packet by packet, to get fanned out and then bring together where it needs to be. And on the other side, then they put them in order. You open the envelopes up, and you've got the message. But because it took 4 seconds, the people who make circuit switching equipment for voice, you just couldn't use a router for voice. And so Cisco just came up underneath them, and the products were better and better and better until, after 10 years, it was fast enough to use for voice. So they started out with data where speed didn't matter, and then they moved up market, and basically all of the people in the world that made the circuit switching technology got blown out of the water by coming from the bottom and coming up. Another great example is Toyota. They came in to the European and the American markets not with Lexuses, but with rusty little subcompact products. And then they made better and better and better and better products. And in America in particular, General Motors and Ford, that were making big products for big people, they look at Toyota coming at the bottom, and it just made no sense to defend the least profitable part of the business, the subcompact products, when they have the privilege of making even bigger cars for bigger people at higher margins. And so Toyota essentially blew America's automobile industry out of the water. And now the Koreans, Hyundai and Kia, are coming in under Toyota, and they've stolen the subcompact and the compact ends of the market. And it's not because Toyota is asleep at the switch, but they make the same calculation. I wonder if we should defend the least profitable end of the business, or should we gain market share in the most profitable end of the business? And so they find it very much, Toyota, very much in their interest to compete and gain market share against Mercedes and just give the low end to the Koreans. And then the Koreans are moving up market, and here comes Chinese manufacturers like Chery, and it happens over and over again. This is the idea or the theory of jobs to be done, is a piece of our work that is not complete. And so what I can offer about that is really preliminary, that we think merit a lot of thought and use, but we anticipate that there's a lot more we need to learn. But let me describe the jobs to be done theory. So here I am in Boston, and I have attributes. Now, I'm 60 years old, unfortunately, and I'm 6'8" height, unfortunately. And we sent our youngest daughter, Katie, off to school, unfortunately. So I have all these characteristics. But these characteristics do not cause me to go out and buy the New York Times in the morning. There might be a correlation between my characteristics and the propensity to buy the newspaper, but these attributes don't cause me to do it. What causes us to buy a product or service and pull it into our lives is, stuff happens to us every day. Jobs arise that need to get done. And when we have a job to do, we go out and find something that will do the job, and we'll hire it or buy it to get the job done. The reason why most companies find that they are unable to differentiate their products is that they don't think about the job to be done, but instead they just try to make better products than their competitors, who then can copy them and make better products, and then they make better products, and so on. And very quickly your product becomes commoditized because you have a single dimension of differentiability from your customers. If you frame the business around a job to be done, then when the next technology emerges that will allow you to get the job done better, you see it coming, you adopt it, and you keep going. But if instead you frame the business that you're in as the railroad business, and then airlines and FedEx emerges, you won't see it because they're outside of the scope of being a railroad company, if you see what I mean. And that's the reason why we think that companies that focus around a job to be done and integrate in that way find that they have no competitors, and that the business that they're running is very stable over time. Why should somebody come and listen to Clay Christensen? I guess, I really want to contribute to what people understand about business. And I think that this is true, that I and my colleagues are the only people in the world, really, that are using the scientific method to unravel and understand business problems. Hi, I'm Clayton Christensen. I look forward to meeting with you in January 2014.